hopefully you still have your house, and hopefully everything's still good in America, and hopefully everything's, you know what I mean, not going as bad as it could be, as bad as it is in some parts of the world. It seems like obviously this idea of war and this idea of Russia, that's certainly not an idea at this point, but the reality of Russia invading Ukraine, and what it means for the rest of the world, and what it means for, well, I mean, I'm sure the first thing and the easiest thing that people are realizing is fucking gas prices. And I mean, aren't those awesome? Like, that's what a treat. That's really nice. And imagine it's all the same leaders and lawmakers that dealt with the events that followed March of 2020. So, I'm sure that it'll be a breeze, right? They did so well over the last couple of years, so we're in for a real expression of quality leadership, I'm sure. But it seems like, I mean, there are the select few, and of course it's often the wealthy, but it seems like the folks that do have money are making contributions. But other than that, like, how many people are actually doing anything? Right? Like, you put the yellow and blue on your Instagram, and then that's somehow supposed to make some sort of expression as if you know what the fuck they're going through or know what's going on. It's like, I don't see how that's there's so few people that are actually doing anything, but everybody's so up in arms and concerned. And I get it. The idea that, we just haven't necessarily had to deal with something like this in our lifetime. And I know I talked about that before, so I'm not going to talk about it again, but I just can't imagine that everybody I'm sorry, I'm thinking about something else. I can't imagine that everybody that's acting like they care so much at this point for Ukraine and making posts and making it a part of their social interactions and social media, really, right? Are actually making donations and ensuring that, or even fully knowledgeable, really. I mean, how many people actually really know what the fuck is going on? Like, really know the ins and outs of it, Because I think I'm starting to realize how it's affecting us, as if inflation wasn't already, extremely evident in everything else that we do. It's not like we needed gas, but it is what it is. It is what it is, right? I think that's, I guess if you think about it in the grand scheme of things, like, one, I think more people are prone to talk than they are to actually make any sort of action or contribution. And then it also seems like, can you blame most people, though? Can you blame the average, fucking, how much time do you have? How much extra time do you actually have in your day to dedicate to find out all the details and the ins and outs of the invasion and each side and their position and the past and the history between the two? And how much time do you have to do that beyond just trying to make money and pay your bills and take care of your kids and eat food? And you know what I mean? Like, it's sleep, hopefully, eventually. Yeah, I just can't imagine everybody has that much, but it does seem like everybody's always willing to talk shit. And I get, the, what is it, hypocrisy probably in that. But that's fine. I don't know. Yeah, I don't think that we're in the best. I don't think that we're in the best hands, but I leaned on this table and you can really hear it. It really got serious. It was like I was walking on one of those old wood fucking floors. I don't like houses like that. I don't like those houses that are so old that they creak and stuff, and I know some people do, and I get it, like the appeal, but not as like a person that actually has to be there. They built everything way smaller. Sometimes they didn't even enclose pipes and walls and shit. It's like insane. You know what I mean? You get it. It was a totally different time. But at the same time, if things like that haven't been upgraded, I'll quit leaning on the desk. But I don't like old, like, houses and stuff that creak like that. Even like the Colorado State University campus, there's like really old buildings from like when it was first built, like 1867 or whatever. And you walk through there and they fucking, every step, creaks as you walk along. But my thought was like, truthfully, if everything, we could so easily be in war, and I think it'd be better off if everybody just like, again, it'd be great if everybody could make a contribution, and I'm sure that the people that are wealthy and willing have, but it seems like more often than not, people are just going to run their mouth. And so it's like, if that's all you can do and that's all you can offer, maybe we're better off. I literally forgot what I was going to say. I literally forgot where I was going with that. Because I hear something and it feels like something just turned on, but it doesn't matter. I was thinking about how people run their mouth, and I've said that repeatedly, so I've beat that into the ground, and I get that. And it seems like people have made a contribution if they can, but most aren't going to. Oh, if we're lucky, then the gas prices being high is the I mean, right, I understand that, like, it went out of style to have any sort of silver lining to the events that followed March of 2020. It went out of style really fast to try to have any sort of silver lining in that situation. So I'm not trying to do that. But if raising gas prices, and again, nobody wants to deal with that. I drive a shitload for the roofing job that I do. I have to drive to houses all over, a multi-county, multi-city, large area. If doing side hustles and stuff, if you do DoorDash, you're driving all over the place. You know what I mean? Picking up my son, running over, doing anything. It affects me greatly in everything that I do. So I get it. But if that's all that we have to deal with, ultimately, aren't we doing pretty okay? I mean, I'm not trying to be the silver lining guy, and I'm not trying to be like, but really, right? If that's all that we're dealing with is raising gas prices, don't you think that that's not really the worst thing in the world? Like, if he was, how many times have you heard people talk about the nuclear option or nuking, or somebody, you know what I mean, pulling the trigger, as far as like maybe obviously Putin being the first one, or anybody else that has any sort of arsenal that could compare. But once one person does it, what's stopping everybody else from doing it, you know? So it's like, realistically, if that doesn't happen, you know what I mean, aren't raising gas prices, like, I don't know. All everybody did was complain about this sickness that, I mean, I'm not trying to, but for the last 2 years, and then inflation's been insane, double digits percentages in many different categories. They said, but the highest since like the 1980s or something like that. I probably, need to check that, because my memory's not always the best. But, and then now here we're gonna complain about that. I don't know. It's not that I'm not unhappy about it, but gosh, if that's all we have to deal with. I also did find out recently, I said something, and what I said was what I heard. So like, I had mentioned that, like, when I tried to talk with a recruiter and stuff, he had told me that the lines are really long and people with my history weren't needed, and that by the time I was needed, it was going to be for something that was highly used in a combat zone. And I was saying, like, how great it is that the lines are so long in our country for people that just want to, they do want to serve. And then I'd heard other things that were, they were years old. So like, I was listening to older podcasts from like long ago, and people were mentioning that that's not necessarily the case. So, you know what I mean? Not as long ago from the story that I told, from the experience that I had, but maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and they were saying that's not the case at all. So I wonder what it's like now. I was just speaking from, you know what I mean, saying there's no fucking way I would want to do that. But obviously it's like the people that have taken, I said it all. Nobody cares, but everybody's sure acting like they do. Everybody, it seems like it's the one topic of discussion. And I even mentioned how it was like, I felt obligated to speak about it in the past. And it's like, now, I get it. I get the repercussions, and that's what I'm saying. It's like these things that we're dealing with. It's like, hopefully that's it, But gosh, it's been one thing after another, and it's like, I don't know. I went to Boulder today, and I had a mask on, and I was like, I thought I was going to be the only one until I walked into a different room, and then there was another gal that had one on, but I like literally took mine off. But point being, it's like probably one of the most progressive towns in this area, and there was clearly the mask mandate had been lifted, and so it's like, I don't know. Maybe people are just moving on. Maybe it's nice to have something new in the spotlight, point being, but I don't know. I don't think the majority really know. That's the deal. I don't think the majority actually have any fucking idea. But, everybody's, Lil Wayne now with a new song about fucking black, blue, and yellow, call you Carmelo. But no, it's fucking stupid. I'm sorry. But point being, everybody's putting these blue and yellow flags in their Instagram and have some sort of saying about what it is they think people should be doing. But I don't think anybody really has all the ins and outs. And let's just see. I don't know. It would be better. It would be, it's like, I talked about religion previously, and how it's like, if you treat that symbolically, you have maybe the ability to, say, act in a different way, act in a different, you're able to maybe change your behavior and your trajectory based on your beliefs. Now I'm lost. I don't remember what the fuck I was saying. It doesn't matter. How did I? No idea. I'll look back at this later and feel stupid. It won't be the last time or the first, though. No idea. No fucking idea. Oh well. Lost my train of thought entirely. Yeah, I don't think most people know. I don't think most people have all of the details and the facts from either side. I think it's easier to take the victim side, and I know I've said that before, but I've been thinking about a lot less serious shit. I have stronger opinions about a lot less severe and significant things. Like one thing that I've been looking at lately, and I don't know if I should stop leaning on this table because it sounds like the floor of a fucking 1876 college, or if I should just, yeah, probably. I guess it depends, because like I said, I think you can hear my kid in the background anyway. But like, to ask a 7-year-old to take an hour and be quiet, that would be he would be louder if I was like, "Hey man, you got to be so quiet." Oh my. But do you ever see? I think it depends on where you're at. But do you ever see like the I realize it's called blunt bangs. So like when girls have like the bangs cut literally horizontally straight across the forehead, cuz I absolutely can't stand that shit. I don't know why, but it bothers me way more than it should. Like I shouldn't even have an opinion on it, right? Like I shouldn't have an opinion on something that doesn't technically affect me. Like I don't have to wear it. I don't have to style it. I don't have to photograph it. There's literally nothing that I have to do with blunt bangs, but I can't stand them. They bother me a great deal. I would say of all the people, of all the times, any time that I've ever seen blunt bangs, and again, this is where just the horizontal line across the forehead, any time aside from like maybe Gwyneth Paltrow. So maybe like Gwyneth Paltrow had blunt bangs and she looked decent. But I mean, let's be honest. Doesn't she look amazing all the time? Isn't if you like, doesn't she look, but ultimately, wouldn't she look better with her hair just parted around her face? Like, isn't that truthfully what, I don't know. I've heard it's been called like bold. I've heard it's been called striking, but I just hope it doesn't ever come back into style. It's wreck. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. My thought is, if you really care and people are so involved and they really are so worried about Ukraine, are they really living that much differently? Like, are they really living that much differently as if their lives are our lives, or if our future or their future or the future of America is going to be affected? Like, for instance, if you really think that, say he is in Putin, he is in Putin, if you think that he's going to say, basically start the end of the world, then hard swallow there. Yeah. It is a hard thought. But that's my thought. How seriously are people really taking it? Because personally, I mean, again, the amount of normal shit that I'm just focused on takes quite a bit of my energy every day. You know what I mean? And that's just like I said, like everybody knows, you fucking working, taking care of your kids, you know what I mean? Sleeping, doing all the normal shit that you have to do. It takes a lot of my energy. So it's like, it just seems like realistically, I think our parents too, or the older generations, the people that have, say, excuse me, been through anything similar like this, like the Cold War. I mean, nothing large, like nothing ultimately happened, right? Like, say, a lot of probably espionage, a lot of spies, but isn't that constantly probably happening? Isn't that still happening? Isn't that going to happen until and if the end occurs? I'm sorry, but it's just, my thought is like, aside from so yeah, everybody makes these social media posts, right? Everybody has this opinion online, but how many people do really have time to like live their lives differently? And if everybody was living their life differently, if everybody was acting as if any day we're all gonna die, which we fucking should be, right? Like, at the end of the day, shouldn't we be treating each day, I was trying to remind myself earlier today, because it's so fucking easy to get, it's so easy to get overwhelmed. It's so easy to get, like, say in that instance where like Breck needed to go to the bathroom real quick, which is like no big deal. It's like, yeah, of course he needs to use the restroom, no big deal. So not that I'm like fucking doing the, like the studio's not in the restroom, but in the wrong mood, it's easy to get upset about something like that. And I think I don't know where I was going at this point, because I was being stupid about the restroom thing, but it's easy to get overwhelmed, and it's easy to get consumed by all those things that we have to do each day, just in our normal obligations. And I don't think, I wish that I was applying that as often as I needed to be. The fact that it could be my last day anytime, that today, now, this hour, this podcast, this time recording could be my last time here. I think if I really truthfully felt that way, I'd probably be talking to you about way different things. I'd probably lose my train of thought a lot less, knowing that each one of these words I take could be my last. And I think that's what I mean. Like, how seriously is everybody really taking it? Or because if everybody was, God, wouldn't it be a better place? And that's, I think, what I was trying to get to earlier. Is I'm not trying to be the silver lining guy, but truthfully, if that was happening, wouldn't that be better off? But I don't think people are taking it that seriously. That's what I mean. Because if it would seem like society in a whole would be a much more, say, gracious, or I don't know what the right word is, much more compassionate, I certainly I don't remember to adapt that all the time. I lose my temper in the stupidest times, not necessarily, like I said, it's easy to with your children, I think. I remember people used to say things like, I remember this one lady, one time she was like, yeah, but don't you just want to throat punch your kids sometimes? And I was like, Jesus Christ, like, you're a lunatic. There's no way. Like, I don't know what's wrong with you. But I grabbed this water because my throat was being all stupid, and now I'm just crinkling it and making loud noises. But and now I totally get it. I read something the other day, though, that said, like, I don't remember all of it, so I guess it doesn't matter. But the idea was just like, if you just try to verbally teach your kids, they're not going to remember it. I think it was something like, you have to make them do it. And then ultimately the idea was like, get them more involved and they're going to remember it better. And that's probably a good thing, because I agree, man. I only have one kid, but when I tell him things, I'm certain that he doesn't remember them. I'm certain that he does not retain them. That Charlie Brown thing is so insanely accurate. It's pretty unbelievable. It's tough to be present, though. I get it. It's tough to be present. Even when I think I'm being present, like, you know, we went to this concert of Breck's, like they had this little spring concert, and I was telling him which song I liked the best, and I couldn't even hear the lyrics. I thought it was about like something blue, and it was about a bird. That I was way off. But I hope that everybody starts to act more like at any minute, you know, somebody could push a button, you know, because everybody talks about it. You hear about it. And I understand the concern, but how much am I really, you know what I mean? Would I even possibly get upset about something stupid with my kid? Or would I even possibly get upset? Like I said the other day, I just asked a question to a lady at a Qdoba, and she treated me like a dumb fuck. And I was just like, that's not even what I asked. And I mumbled some shit under my breath as I was walking out, and that was wrong. You know what I mean? Because like I kind of wanted her to hear me, but I kind of was just being a passive little bitch. And so I shouldn't say kind of. I was being a real passive little bitch because I was upset that I didn't word the question in a way to get the answer that I wanted. And would I possibly act stupid about something like that if I really thought that any minute, you know what I mean, like that it was going to end? But yeah, I wish we did. I wish we did think about that more often. And I know that sounds stupid, but wouldn't gas prices be the least of our worries, right? If I don't know. I don't think. And that's what I was saying too about like our parents, and I don't know if I finished my thought there, but like it didn't the older generation, the only thing that they even had to relate was like the Cold War, where ultimately nothing large scale that we're aware of aside from possibly espionage happened. You know what I mean? So it's like all the times that this has been the situation, this has been the, you know, I don't want to call it propaganda because I understand the risk, I understand the possibilities, but all the time that this has been in the news, the ultimate result has not been anything. I don't know. I guess I saw, not for us anyway, I saw that it didn't India or somebody, or like Pakistan or somebody released like a missile the other day on accident. And then there was that time back in the day, right? Like, 2017, that North Korea was releasing missiles and stuff. And maybe even sometime again recently. But yeah, didn't like India or Pakistan or somebody actually release a missile the other day? I bet if I just type that in. Accidentally released a missile 11 hours ago. India says that they accidentally launched a missile into Pakistan. Yeah, so I guess, you know, I guess it does happen, you know, not necessarily for us. But that's what I'm saying. But how often does it? How often did it? You know what I mean? Pretty much never. So that's why it's weird. It's like how fearful, how seriously does anybody really take it? And I didn't at any point really intend to talk about that. I mean, like I said, my biggest, strongest opinion right now is about blunt bangs. And I just hope they don't come back into style. I just hate it. I think they look terrible. I don't think I think you're just deciding any picture, conversation, interaction that you have for the next 3 months until things grow out and you decide to restyle it. You're just destroying, because I don't think anybody can take you seriously. How can somebody take you seriously when you literally look like a 5-year-old with the straight across bangs? No way. Can't do it. Can't take you seriously. I'm sorry. But that's the most serious opinion I had recently, was about the blunt bangs. And I know I'm one to talk because I've had the same haircut for 20 years, but I don't know. I've known my stylist even longer. I don't feel like I'm changing now. You know, and maybe sometimes I've considered like Yeah, I'm not even gonna. I guess when I was younger and even other times later on, it'd probably be the easiest way to put it. I've considered like, that like bleach look or like the platinum look, but I think time will come, unfortunately, and I'll have plenty of grays and I'll get to spend my time as that, or hopefully, right? I mean, fuck. Again, this is what I'm saying. Like, if these are our concerns, if these are the things we're worried about, are we really being affected as much as we want to pretend? Like, I don't know. I'm not happy about the gas prices, but were we happy about groceries? Were we happy about lumber? Were we happy about everything? Steel. Were we happy about the inflation? About, I haven't traveled a whole bunch, but they said hotels were up. It's like everything. But now here oil, and it's the biggest deal. I don't know. You see those trucks now where they have like that are operated on like certified natural gas, and I don't know. We certainly have a larger amount than at one time, at least. I should. At one time, I thought that America had lots and lots of natural gas. Like, I don't know. You wish we had more technology or more cars converted to that. And I know that's probably faux pas. I mean, I would love a Tesla one day too, and I don't know how it compares. I don't know how, like, say having a charging station, and then say having like a certified natural gas car, and then the ability to fill it up and how many areas you can. Because obviously in Colorado, I mean, they have so many, or at least near here in Greeley. I'm pretty sure there's an area in fucking Greeley, Colorado, which is not far, that you can refill certified natural gas vehicles. But I don't know. You think about that. I wonder how much it's changing for them, because I don't think the reserves of natural gas are as affected, right? Because we've always had shitloads of that. But who knows, because they say that it's affected by the future, what they expect to pay in the future as well. So I don't know. Interesting that. No, I'm not even gonna. I like I said before. Yeah, I'm sure our leaders and lawmakers aren't just concerned about making money, and it's like. I don't know. I heard some rumors that, like, I think I was listening to Breaking Points or something, and did they say that, like, there was people that were putting the stocks, their money into stocks of like defense companies, like days or a day before certain things were announced. Like, that's pretty. I don't know. Goodness, man. But yeah, I didn't really necessarily develop lots of serious opinions. I guess I did. It seems like anytime I want to rub my nose, I'm either uncomfortable or fucking, I don't know, lying. Another thing I noticed, not near as serious, but I bet it actually affects a lot more people's lives. That's the fucking thing. That's the thing about that, is like, no, the blunt bangs thing's not nowadays. I just hope it doesn't come back into style. I don't know. But is emojis, right? So, like, there's hundreds. If you've ever scrolled through that book of emojis in your phone, there's so many. Doesn't it seem like 20% of what you see is like the rest of the emojis, so to speak, and like 80% of what you see is like the same 6 to 8 emojis. I mean, hear me out, but it's like there's like the normal fire emoji, like, right? You see that all the time, and maybe I should just say I see that all the time. Doesn't it seem like the fire emoji, insanely overused? Or the red heart, the regular red heart emoji. And why is that? How is that? Why is it that nobody, because I get that like all the other hearts are supposed to mean something. All the other hearts are supposed to have some sort of expression rather than say they're mean. You know what I mean? Like, for instance, I think if you put the black heart just by itself, it's supposed to actually mean like depressed. But fuck that. I just use it as a black heart when I want to have a black heart, you know, like black and white or black and blue or fucking black and purple. Like I don't think it has to be used like that. But that's what I'm saying. Like everybody just uses the red heart, or it seems like 80% of the time you're seeing like the red heart or the fire symbol, or the little emoji with the guy with the red hearts in the eyes, right? Like hard eyes guy. It's totally not what it's called, but that's you know what I'm talking about. Hard eyes guy, or the roly laughy guy. The rolling on the floor laughing. Is it rolling on the floor laughing? The rolling laughing guy. You see that. And that's like, what, 4 so far? That's like 4 that you see. Tell me I'm wrong, though. I saw somebody use a dinosaur the other day, which I couldn't even think to know what it means because she was a super young gal. And I was like, okay, that totally proves any. But that's why I said like 80% of the time, I feel like what you're seeing is just like a main 6 to 8. A main 6 to 8 emojis with hundreds and hundreds of choices. And how could that possibly be? Why would that be? Why? And I'm slamming my elbow on the keyboard. But it's right? With hundreds of choices, how and why would it be that we see the same ones over and over again? I just don't understand that. I don't understand, like that. I believe I was in the habit of looking at the emojis when, like, say that heart with the fire came out about it, like the heart with the fire around it. And people don't use that almost ever. But, like, that's the best. That's one of the most badass ones. That one, the black one. And like I said, I think it's because it's like the black one's supposed to mean depressed, but that's fucked. Like, was the eggplant supposed to mean what it means? Was the drips supposed to mean what it means? And again, those are probably, if I had to say, like, whatever the 7th and 8th ones are, like, I think they're not as commonly used, but they are used in certain circles and on certain pages. And that's why I think you find some of those people limiting their comments a little more often. But, yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. Yeah, I guess just that you see the same ones over and over again. And it just seems, why? You know what I mean? Like, why people not branch out? It makes me not want to use them. It makes me not want to use them at all. I wish they weren't so popular. But it almost seems like saying something. It's like, people, I don't know. I think it's because they're more what is it? Or maybe to me they're more subjective. Is it subjective? I always confuse those, but they're subjective to me, right? So it's like I think you can interpret them differently depending on who you are. I mean, somebody had to institute the eggplant, right? Somebody had to institute that at some point in the light that it's more commonly used. It's not like it started that way. I don't think. So maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Maybe I should look it up. Maybe that's not true. Maybe it was always like that, right? Maybe the eggplant has always been some sort of symbol for, But, yep. India just accidentally firing a missile into Pakistan. That just happens. We just, here and there, just fire a fucking missile off. Imagine you were that guy. Do you think he got fired? Do you think he got demoted? You know what I mean? Imagine that was your job anywhere else. You just caused damage well enough to, who knows what happened. Should we look? I guess I should look into what happened, but I guess a missile, you would imagine that the damage could be pretty significant. I would. I shouldn't speak for you. You should tell me what you think. But I would imagine that if I received a missile, being a country, could be pretty detrimental, but that could just be my imagination running wild. Maybe I've seen too many movies. Oh yeah, some of the other ones, right? With like the folded hands one. You see the folded hands one a lot. That was probably the one I didn't mention. You see folded hands emojis. Also, what the fuck is that one where they have the hands up? Somebody please tell me what the hell that is. What is this? What is this emoji? Like, clearly, like I said, I think they're subjective. I think you can use them for certain things. But what the hell is this one? What is that supposed to mean? The only thing it reminds me of is like Wayne and Garth in Wayne's World when they're saying like, I'm not worthy. Right? When they're like, we're not worthy. I think it's when they see Alice Cooper. That's the only thing I can possibly relate that to. Somebody's got to tell me what the hell this one means. What does this emoji mean? Is it somebody doing this? You know what I mean? But that's like, I mean, unless you're being ironic, unless you're kidding, you're just like kind of fucking with somebody if you use that one, right? Because nobody you want to, like I said, unless it's like, you know, the situation I mentioned. Dude, the other day, I had chai tea in the morning, and I'm not trying to be stupid or hipster or anything like that. I get that whole chai latte thing. I totally get it. I think, I mean, it's got a, I forget, latte is just like I think it has milk. It has some amount of milk, right? Isn't that latte? I don't know. It doesn't matter. But I just one morning, and you know what's another thing I've been doing, and nobody cares, but I've been having like oatmeal before I work out, which at first it was giving me lots of energy, and now I'm just back to being a normal bitch. So I think it's more mental than anything. I thought that, like, you know, maybe having some sort of food before I worked out was being helpful. But one day I was making the oatmeal, and then like I had the boiling water, so I made some chai tea. Dude, that shit's amazing. I've had it for years. It was the last either 1 or 2 bags that I had in the box. But I think they say tea has more caffeine, right, than normal, than coffee. But it was amazing. Like, I was jacked. I was so amped. And I normally, if I drink coffee before I work out, it gives me a stomach ache. So I can't normally drink coffee. So I normally can't drink coffee until, you know, hours after I wake up. But I had this right when I woke up. A really strong cup of chai tea. It was badass, man. I might buy that more often. It was really good. You know what I mean? Just like a couple bucks for how many, I don't know, 8 or 10 or whatever, like that celestial seasoning stuff. I'm not trying to be dumb. I had no intention of talking about that. You're like, dude, we get it. I wouldn't have talked about that either. But I get the whole chai tea thing. You know, I remember when I was a kid, the first thing I ever had from Starbucks was chai tea latte. And it was just because that was what I saw somebody else order, and I had no idea why people would go to this place and order these things. But still think that when this line is out in the road and you can't drive by without fucking up traffic. Yeah, I didn't have any, you know, serious things to talk about. But my biggest thought is I don't know how seriously anybody's taking it, you know? I think if you're involved or you're making contributions, again, it's obvious that you have some sort of serious understanding of how it's affecting people and how you can be helpful. But other than that, I think people just have to worry about their lives. And I know it sounds stupid, but I think that's more likely because it just, you know what, I'm not gonna, yeah. I think now I fully understand the idea of pandering because I can think of plenty of other things to say, but it's like I'm not going to, you know, because that's not, I don't know. I was thinking about the other day how like when I first started cooking, you hear all these chefs and cooks talk about how important it is to have like a really sharp knife, right? They really want to have like the sharpest knife, and some of them even literally have like tattoos of knives and forks, knives and cleavers and things on their bodies. But I think maybe when you're just trying to tattoo yourself all the time, maybe you run out of ideas also. You know, I don't know. I have none. I don't know that I'll ever have any. I'm not that cool. I can't do it. I was gonna say there's not anything I could ensure that I would care about for that long aside from like my kid, but I don't need to tattoo his name on my body to let people know I care about him. I think if I just continue to, be around and be a father, that'll probably show people how I feel. I think you can express with your actions pretty easily as a parent to your kids. I know it's a stupid thing to say. Yeah, anytime I rub the nose, but I almost realized like I complained for the longest time, or like I thought I was not. You can't be like a good cook or chef without having like sharp knives. But the amount of time that I fuck up when I'm like cooking or slicing something up is so often that if I didn't have dull knives, I would have like less fingers and like I would have fucking chunks out of my skin in so many places. The nice thing is you always see the pros, even the highest level chefs and cooks. It seems like they always lead with their fingernails. So the closest part of their finger is their fingernail. So if you do happen to mess up, it's going to touch a hard part of your fingernail, and then it kind of just leaves a little nick. Unless you fucking go crazy and you slice it off, which makes my back shiver to think about. But it's almost better, right, to have like the dull knives at the end of the day, because as long as you have any sort of, I don't know, somehow even the dull knives go through things, right? So it's like it's not like, I'm just trying to think like, well, maybe what you'd have to slice to try to need a really really sharp knife. And I get you're always going to get a better cut or whatever it is, but I almost think like I've been fortunate to learn for so many years with just the dullest knives. I think you're almost better off. And I think about that all the time. Like anytime I, hit my finger or something like that, it's like, dude, I would be going to the hospital right now. If I had like purchased like nice Cutco knives or something like that, I would literally be going to the hospital right now for that mistake, Like especially if you're like slicing onions and you don't want to be a little bitch and you don't want to stop and you literally after a while can't fucking see and you just keep going with your knife. Like so many... Certainly at least one time I've hit my finger, but yeah, I don't have any more to say about that. I'll be right back. I'm back. I don't really have that much else to talk about. It all seems insignificant, really, if we think about the fact that something, in the sense that, what's funny? I try not to say it as often as I can because I know that I'll probably say it wrong. It's nuclear, right? Is it nuclear? Is it, because you hear nuclear, but it's nuclear, right? Point being, you hear like the nuclear option. I'll just fucking look it up because I feel stupid now. Nuclear option. Drastic extreme response to possible... Yeah, okay, right. But then you hear people say nuclear. That's the issue, right? So I try not to say it because I wonder if I'm going to say it wrong. But I would say it right, hopefully, unless I second guessed myself and then I said it the other way. But yeah, again, almost anything you want to talk about seems fairly insignificant if you really expect that something fairly, what do they refer to it as? Fairly drastic is going to occur. Yeah, like I had, there was a story about the Vail police that they're going to start, cause I live in Colorado, right? So they had a story that they're going to start, giving possibly up to $999 fine, as well as possibly up to $180 days in jail if you're borrowing a friend's ski pass. So like, for instance, times I've had a ski pass, you can't always go up, but I think they kind of bank on that. So there was times that like my friends wanted to borrow mine. So like, yeah, of course there was multiple times that I've borrowed people's passes and borrowed out my pass. Because you spend like, you know what I mean? Basically, it's like you're going to spend at least, I don't know what ski passes cost nowadays, but probably for a day pass, probably at least like $100 a person, you would think. So you can buy like $500 for a pass, or like, I think they're like $800 now. And then, you know, if you go enough times, it well overpays for itself. But yeah, they said it's going to be like you could spend up to 180 days in jail. So what's that, like 6 months? You could go to jail for 6 months. Seems like a really insignificant thing. Not in reference to like the, you know, Ukraine Russia thing, but war. Not in reference to that, but more in reference to like, can you do that for anything else? Like, I can't think of a lot of other places where you'd have a pass, right? Like maybe you get a pass to like the amusement park, right? Like if you had a pass to the amusement park and somebody used it, should they spend 6 months in jail? Or is it just, you know what I mean? Is this just like some mountain town thing? Like, is just like some ski town allowed to impose this weird law? Or would that happen anywhere? Is it like trespassing? You know what I mean? Is it like because you're on their property? Or is it because of fraud? Because that's what they say. They say it's like fraud, but then they say that like borrowing a friend's ski pass qualifies. So like I can understand fraud. Like, you know, if somebody's printing a fake pass, sure, because but I guess it's like the same thing. It's funny how I see it as being different. But again, I don't know if you can like do that if you're like in an amusement park. You know what I mean? Like, so if you go to Six Flags and you have I don't even know if they're still in business. The one that was in Denver is not. But if you go to, you know, Elitch Gardens in Colorado, I don't know what the fuck they have. You have Busch Gardens, other places, right? If you go like and use the pass there, like, are you arrested? Are you possibly put in jail for 6 months? I don't know, dumb thing to think about, but that was one of the only other things I had. I don't really have anything exciting. I typed nuclear option in, so I just have this picture of an A bomb in front of me on my computer. It's really, and then a bunch of teardrop looking bombs falling from the sky. That's nice. It's a good thing to have on your computer while you're talking. It's a really nice background for my thoughts. But I don't know. Seriously, everybody's taking it. It makes it seem dumb. It makes it seem silly to talk about other things. But I don't have much else. I know it's been about an hour. I'll just talk about it next week if it still seems important. If we're still here. And I think I mentioned about it before. You know, it's not like. I don't think that's how it would happen, right? It's not like we would have some sort of invasion, but I don't know if Ukraine thought they'd get invaded. I guess we knew that it was going to happen well in advance. I know I made a poor joke about it pre-invasion when it was pretty evident that it was going to happen. So I know we knew in at least the days leading up to it. I don't know how much further in advance we knew than that. But point being, I don't know if we thought that was going to happen at some point before that. But you wouldn't think that an invasion is how they would attack us. I wouldn't think. I don't know. You would think that it's more right, like somebody's going to, like Putin, is going to push a button, right? And then you wonder if he's got all the control of that, or if he's going to have somebody else do that, or if he literally has the ability himself. And then that would cause either somebody else to, in response, us, China, who knows? North Korea, who knows? I don't know. Well, hopefully we're all still here. Hopefully this awful set of collage of disaster that I have on my computer screen here is no reality that we have to deal with. Hopefully we're all just still wasting away our busy lives, working, and hopefully at least spending some time with our families. And I guess if you have that extra time, why don't you hit the subscribe button? No, I hate it. I hate it. I've seen where people like just do the thing where they like put it on, it comes on the screen, and nobody says anything. Nobody talks about it. I think that might be my favorite. That might be the next way to try it. But like the video, subscribe, tune in again next week. I'll be here. Maybe we'll have something more exciting to talk about. Maybe the whole world won't think we're going to be in war. Who knows? Maybe we'll get used to it like we did COVID. Who knows? But look forward to chatting with you guys again then. And take care of yourselves. Take care of your family. We'll be back again next week. All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.